Charlie. It's good to be here.
Good.
So as to the issue of digital transformation, kind of a very simple idea here in that I think it was Mike Tyson who said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And as a microscopic organism, 1/1000th the width of a human hair, a technology roadmap. We may have had that plan. It may have been 5 years out or 10 years out. What we've really seen in my business and in the businesses of clients that I work with is they've had to advance that roadmap. They had to kind of throw out the old roadmap because it wasn't getting them where they needed, and they needed to step in very actively. So clients of mine are now in the space of really e-commerce. So brands that were not readily able to transact business online are doing so. That includes clients in the building space, for example. You can buy a house right now online, do the full virtual tour, do the e-signing. You don't actually have to have any of the human elements of that. My clients in food service, they are able to do curbside pickup, mobile ordering, all of the things that may have been on a longer term roadmap. And they just turned them on really quickly because necessity is a mother of invention. And clearly, a lot of people had to reinvent themselves just to keep the lights on, Charlie, just to keep the lights. So first and foremost, I believe that your purpose should have stayed the same throughout COVID-19. As you know, Charlie, I did a book this year with 140 CEOs and presidents of companies from Target, Verizon, you name it. I mean, Starbucks, Mercedes-Benz, Marriott. And talking with all those CEOs and having the conversation, most of them would tell you that their purpose did not change. If anything, the tools changed, and technology is a tool, and it had to be in play differently. And as your conversation about personalization, I think technology can personalize content, can understand big data and analyze preferences and be able to push content in that way. So you definitely need to do that. You need to make it easier through your technologies, but you really, you need to have that human powered technology aided sort of solution set. So if you take Brian Cornell, who's in the book, the CEO of Target, they did not change their purpose, which is to help all families discover the joy of everyday life, but they advanced the amount to which people could do same day pickups at a speed that was meteoric. Because in order for families to discover the joy of everyday life, when everyday life had changed so dramatically, they needed to be able to do that. And the same would be true for the purpose behind a Starbucks, which is to inspire and nurture human spirit, a person, a cup in a neighborhood at a time. How do you do that when you can't have people sitting in your dining rooms? That's a different challenge, but the purpose doesn't change. The execution against the purpose with the tools available does. From my worldview, I'll use the Starbucks example. Clearly a problem was having to wait in line to pay with cash for the longest time. It was a bottleneck in the rapid fire Starbucks experience. So what did they do? Before the technology was really adopted, they were using 2D technology with a barcode on a phone, and they were able to get mobile pay and kind of the beginning of mobile pay. And then we went to mobile ordering. And then if you think about even before the pandemic, they were coming to this place, which is I think where the world will be, where they were only going to have stores where I could come in and pick up the drink that I mobile ordered. So there was no place to sit. And this was being tested in New York before the pandemic. So what are we trying to get at here? We're trying to use the technology to take away the pain points, make it as easy and convenient as possible. But we retained the barista handing off the coffee cup to the customer in that environment instead of having a robot that executed the fulfillment of the completion of the technology only cycle. About 50% of our population now is younger than 30, and it's going to increase in the youthfulness of it. Most of those people are digital natives, Charlie. They need a lot of technology surrounding them to get the transactions done, but all of us are craving real humans to fulfill and lay on top of that technology. Gave their best shot in the 19th century to stop the textile manufacturing machines from operating. It didn't work. Right now in our society, I'm extremely excited by what technology is offering in terms of the democratization of opportunity, moving to the cloud. Many companies that I worked with had an advantage when they could compute before the cloud. Other people didn't have that computing power. Now we're all able to get software as a service and be able to access great computing power. So for me, I don't think the have-not issue is that you're not going to be the first to the party. But if you're a smaller business owner, you better watch what Starbucks is doing. You better kind of figure out your strategy for digital pay, whether that's a Square device on top of your iPhone or whatever it might be. Certainly, you do not need to be the first in, but you need to be a fast follower of trends of consumers. What consumers want, what becomes a service standard, we need to be able to apply. And fighting that off and acting like we can put our head in the sand is not going to make it go away. It's going to make us go away.
Okay.